Hey, welcome back. And today we're going to talk about something very interesting, the deep web. What is it? How was it created? And what are other terms that are directly related with it and not very often discussed? My name is Javier Marcos. I am a security engineer with over 20 years of experience. And let's talk about the deep web. Well, first of all, what we need to do is to make the distinction between the three main terms around the deep web. First of all, we need to talk about what is the surface web. Surface web is the internet that is indexed. By index means search engines such as Google, ChatGPT, any other automated robot that goes and accesses it and gathers all the information and then saves it. That means indexing the information. So all the websites, all the content, everything that is out there that can be accessible by these search engines, which should be considered the surface web. That is all what is public. And between websites, one are linked to each other. So basically all that content gets automatically discovered. That is the surface web. Then the next term that is important to discuss, it's the deep web. What is it, the deep web? Well, the deep web is the part of the internet that is not automatically discoverable, which means that all these search engines, such as Google, ChatGPT, etc., the ones we just discussed, they do not have access to it. Why they don't have access to it? Because they can be internal networks for companies, they can be your personal email, the messages in your social networks. That is the content that is not openly available for these search engines. You cannot just search in Google through it. And if you do, probably there is a problem, some sort of privacy issue. So let's keep that in the surface because we are going to be linking that to the dark web. Why there is a difference between the deep web and the dark web? Well, the main difference is that the deep web, it's anything that is on a daily basis, emails, internal networks for companies, all that is the openly accessible for employees and people that should have access to that. The dark web, it's you have access to that through specific and special systems. Let's, for example, the main example is Tor, the onion router, what the acronym TOR stands for. And what is Tor? Tor was created in around the years 2000s as something like an academic experiment on how to have a network that the system that is originating the traffic of the network, and then that system talks to a destination system or destination computer. So would it be possible to design a network when both the origin and the destination, they don't know about each other? So for example, a destination doesn't know where that traffic comes from, and the origin doesn't know where that traffic is going to. The idea behind Tor originated as an academic research paper on how to build systems that they didn't know. So the destination network or destination computer didn't know about the origin computer. So would it be possible to actually create that network or route traffic between those two systems? Because that would be like the most basic communication. But then the destination doesn't know where the origin is, and the origin doesn't know where the destination is. So it started as this research academic project, and then in the early 2000s, there was a research team that was it was a small team that really created what we can consider today the Tor or the onion router project. It was created at the Naval Research Lab in the United States, and then a very big community was generated very quickly, because obviously there were some obvious privacy and interesting implications about such project. Why I'm mentioning Tor? Because I guess that is kind of like what is the term dark web is associated with Tor. So Tor is used for a lot of things, for privacy circumvention, for bypassing blogs, researchers, journalists, activists. They use that on a daily basis to just try to just bypass potential blockers. For some people, it's a matter of life-threatening, because sometimes say some content that can be blocked in a specific location, and then using Tor, you can actually manage to bypass that block. And always remember what we are talking here, keep it legal. It's only for educational purposes, and in the case of not being 100% sure whether something is illegal or not, do your own research, make sure that you are always in the safe side. We talked about when Tor was created, and it originally was an academic research project, and then it evolved into some sort of privacy circumvention tool. But let's keep something very, very clear. Tor is not just a silver bullet, or is not just a magic cloak for invisibility online. That doesn't exist. So there is, when we're talking about Tor, it's about the layer that it actually, how it works. It's between the connection of the computers that they are talking to each other. There's other things happening between that layer and the actual user that can actually impact how that privacy might be broken, or the identity who is behind that computer. So always keep that in mind, that using Tor, it's not a silver bullet. There can be other ways to just kind of try to extract or remove that privacy protection layer that Tor might offer. Tor is not the only option for the specialized network that allows you to access a dark network or a dark web. There's other things, like, for example, private VPN network, some proxy tools. There is other things. The idea is always the same, to just prevent the access to specific parts of the web or some networks through or via a specific system or tools. How can you use Tor? How can I be, okay, I want to use Tor. What are the first steps to use it? Well, the easiest way is to just download the Tor browser. It's just basically a Firefox browser that is already configured to access the Tor network, and then you can access directly the network. You know that you are actually inside of the Tor network when you try to access one of the .onion websites. Those are only routable via a computer that is connected to the Tor network. There are other browsers that are also prepared to connect to the Tor network. For example, the browser Brave allows you to open an incognito window that is not only incognito, which means that there is no cookies being stored or any other privacy tracking tools, but also it allows you to open an incognito window with Tor running. So there's like a number of options to start exploring Tor to access the dark web, and it's definitely easy. It's very easy. If you need something a bit more advanced than just browsing the web, you can also download or install in your system what is called a local proxy. Local proxy that actually utilizes Tor. So basically the proxy connects to Tor, and then you connect to that proxy, and that way that traffic will be routed through Tor. Obviously, it's the same thing as I have mentioned earlier. This is not a silver bullet. There is always ways to try to de-anonymize the person that is behind those tools. There is side channel attacks, try to leak DNS requests. It gets very complex very quickly. So if you don't know what you're doing, be careful what you do when you do it in Tor. When people talk about the dark web, there's always this this sense of something's done is illegal or dangerous. It's nothing like that. You have the same risks using Tor than using just the normal surface web. The term that we just explained. So the thing is that you have to be careful what you do, and then always make sure that you are always using the official Tor browser, or make sure you're downloading the right one. You are not downloading anything that you are finding online, because otherwise you might actually put your computer at risk. Besides using the official Tor browser or the official tools developed by the actual Tor project or the Tor community. There's also other things that you can do to make sure that you are not exposing yourself to unnecessary risks. Always verify the integrity of the things you download and run, like check for signatures and make sure that you're downloading for the right systems. If you're just exploring how those technologies work, use a virtual machine. Keep your testing or your experimentation environment isolated to that just a closed virtual machine. That way, anything that you might actually expose your system to, that won't be your actual computer. And the one thing that I would like to remind is when you install Tor or any other tool to access networks that are only accessible via dark web tools or dark web systems that are only accessible through these specific tools, you might actually end up browsing sites that provide something that is illegal. For example, it's widely known that there is some marketplaces within the Tor network as an onion site that can offer things that purchasing drugs, getting some fake IDs. There is a lot of all those actions that might be considered illegal where you are living. Always be careful with that, because then you will be taking an action that is illegal. And like I said, using Tor is not a silver bullet. You might actually get yourself exposed via other means. So always keep that in mind. There are clear examples of legitimate use cases for using Tor, for example, or tools that allows you to access the dark web. We have mentioned that the project Tor started as an academic research project, but there is the idea, because it started as something to experiment with, and it got a very big community fast. And the reason for that is because it solved a problem. The problem was to provide a tool for journalists and activists around the world that needed a tool to increase their privacy, to make sure that they were taking or doing some of their activities with like a layer of protection, if we can call it like that. The other use cases is for security and privacy aware users. Tor also provides a good layer of not exposing yourself to potential applications or websites that might actually gathering data or fingerprinting the browser of the people that browse those sites. The only one thing I would mention, or at least remind all of you, is that because of the nature of how Tor works, it's very hard to actually get the most of your internet connection speed. So there is always going to be the feeling of my connection has slowed down. Is because what Tor does, it's make sure that the connection is encrypted end to end, and also the system that receives the traffic doesn't know where that traffic comes from. It just does a number of hoops between machines that are part of the Tor network, and that always has an impact in the speed of the internet. So always keep that in mind. If you need speed to do something through Tor, it's going to be a bit hard to achieve. And the last legitimate use case would be to accessing some content that might be geographically restricted. There's a number of countries out there that restrict access to things such as Facebook or Google. So using Tor, it offers people a way to basically access those systems or those networks without having to just go somewhere else. So obviously there's clear legitimate use cases other than doing illegal activities, and I want to just point those out. And this is kind of like the reason why the community around Tor grew up so fast. If you want to learn more about how Tor works or how to use it from an advanced perspective, the best place to look for documentation is the official documents. They have really good documentation in the official website for the Tor project, and because the community is so big, there is plenty of tutorial, training material. The community that is very active, everyone wants to help each other. The majority of your questions will get answered. So the purpose of this video was to define a little bit, not just what is the dark web or the deep web, those are like very hyped terms, but also to make the distinction between the surface web and the deep web and the dark web. Make the distinction of those three, see what what is make the, or at least explain what is each of those terms, and explain also how to access the dark web through Tor. And if you are interested in knowing more a little bit about how to utilize these tools, let us know. And thanks for watching. And if you want to actually learn a bit more, or maybe you want me to make another video of how to utilize Tor, not only the Tor browser, but other browsers, and also using the Tor proxy, so you can route advanced applications like your terminal or something like that, then let us know in the comments. Thank you.